Several years ago here at Survival on Purpose, we took a look at this knife, the Made in the USA Gerber Strongarm, and then we revisited it briefly not too long ago in one of my favorite knife videos. Well, today we're going to take a look at a reasonably new version of the Strongarm from Gerber. This is the Gerber Strongarm Camp. We're going to take a look at this, kind of compare it to the original, and see how well it fares in our standard scientific knife testing. That's what's coming up next here on Survival on Purpose. Welcome back to Survival on Purpose. My name is Brian. Thanks for joining me for another Sharp Saturday video where it's Saturday and we take a look at something sharp. And like I said, today that something sharp is this Gerber Strongarm Camp, made in the USA from Gerber Knives, and it's the kind of call this the slightly littler brother of the original Strongarm. We're going to compare the two, like I said, coming up. But first, today's words of wisdom from Proverbs. This is from Proverbs 21:23, today in the NIV version. Those who guard their mouths and tongues keep themselves from calamity. And one more thing before we get down to the old stump top and get to doing some of that knife stuff, a big thank you to today's video sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Hog Holsters. Hog Holsters are made in the USA in Arizona, and they are without a doubt the most comfortable concealable holster I've ever tested. You can save 10% on your order at Hog Holsters by using the coupon code Survival on Purpose, all one word. That's hogholsters.com. Thanks to Hog Holsters for sponsoring today's video. Okay, here are the two knives in the Gerber Strongarm family. In the back in black, the classic original Gerber Strongarm, and in the front, in a very stylish stonewash finished blade, the Strongarm Camp. You can see they have some similarities and certainly some differences. The main difference is going to be the length of and the thickness of the Strongarm blade. So let's just kind of go over the specs real quick. The overall length of the original Strongarm is 9.8 inches. The overall length of the Strongarm Camp is 8.98 inches, so about 0.82 inches difference. All that difference is basically in the blade. The weight on the two, the weight on the original is 7.2 ounces for the knife only, and the weight on the Strongarm Camp is 4.8 ounces knife only. So that's pretty lightweight compared to this one. I mean, that mostly has to do with the thickness of the blade. They both have a glass-filled nylon handle with a very grippy, ergonomic texturing on it. Obviously, the shape of the handle is different, but they're both very comfortable. This one just fits my hand great. I have a wear medium-sized gloves, as does the original Strongarm. The biggest differences I can see, other than slight shape differences, is that the Strongarm has a kind of a finger guard on top and bottom of the blade, whereas the Strongarm Camp does not have that finger guard on top. So that some people at least have told me they've actually ground this off so they could have a better action with their thumb moving up and down the blade like that. Slightly different configuration here. They both have an exposed pommel tang on the pommel. The Camp is kind of rounded, just a little wider, and the original Strongarm is pointy for being a glass breaker or something like that. Let's see what other differences there might be. They both have kind of like this little thumb depression here. They both feel really good in my hand, like I said. And then the Camp has a little sharpening choil there, and that's not present on the original Strongarm. Original Strongarm's blade tip has a little swedge here, and the Camp is not there, obviously, but again, it's just a lot thinner blade. The only other biggest difference I can see other than just the shape of the handle is the fact that the spine on the original Strongarm seems like it's sharper than the spine on the Camp. This is definitely relieved here. Kind of got a nice rounded spine. I don't think that's going to scrape a ferro rod. Maybe the choil will. We'll see. But that being said, that's kind of the difference in these knives. They both have lanyard holes. They're both corrosion resistant. They're both made in the USA, and they both have Gerber's limited lifetime warranty. And they both have the MSRP of around $90. You might find them less than that in different places, but the MSRP on both of these is $90. Now let's talk about real briefly about the sheath. Sorry, that scurrying you hear is Kuma playing with his basketball. So this is the original sheath, and I've got this one set up for scout carry just because to show you the variety there. Snaps in like so, and thumb push out here. And then here is the Gerber Camp sheath, and I've got this one set up for belt carry to show you, but it also snaps in very, very well. So it can be used in a lot of different ways. This thing can be mounted horizontally, it can be mounted upside down. You can be mounted molly. It comes with the clips and attachments to mount it either way. And it's also ambidextrous, so the knife can go in either way. As is the original Strongarm, it's also ambidextrous. I don't know if the blades are interchangeable. Let's just try it and see. That would be a no. So let's see what the difference is. Is this blade a little wider? I don't know. It doesn't look like it's wider to me. Does it look like it's wider to you? But it's thinner. So this one won't go in here, certainly. It won't even get started, it's so thick. And this one, for whatever reason, I guess it is a little bit wider. It won't go in. So the sheaths are not interchangeable, but they are very similar. So that being said, I think it's time to start doing the old scientific testing, don't you? Okay, as you know, here at Survival on Purpose, we always believe in maintaining the standard scientific protocol. And one of the tests I like to do on every knife is to test the sharpness using the internationally standard sharpness test, the Redneck Sharp Test. So we can try it with the original, which has not been sharpened, but that's really not fair. This knife has been used several times over the past few years. But we're going to give it a shot and see how it does still. And even wow, okay, wow, look at that. Even after a couple of years of not hard use, but occasional use, this one has done okay. It's certainly already been through the rigorous scientific testing. So if you want to see all that, you can definitely, I'll put a link to that original video. I'm not going to repeat all that testing on that one because, as usual, the sun's going down. But let's try the Strongarm Camp and see how well it comes out of the factory, how sharp it comes. Let's just see. My gosh. Okay. Man, look at all that hair there. Okay, that sucker is shavy yak sharp. So we're going to say this thing, both of them actually. I'm really, by the way, impressed that this one, even after going through our scientific testing, originally has passed that test. So we're going to give this an absolute A+ on the Redneck Sharp Test. Let's do a little more of that camp stuff since it's a camp knife. Okay, so the next step in our standard scientific testing process is to try to take a piece of wood that's been laying on the ground. It was raining here a couple days ago, so it's probably damp, and see if we can process this wood into a fire. So what I like to do is to test the ability to baton through some wood, get into the center, which might not have the moisture the outside has picked up. Got a pretty solid piece of wood here. Seems pretty dry. It's also got a big old knot in it, so that could be a good test of the blade. Let's just see how well this thing does. I've got my I was told that my baton I was using was too light, and it was. So as usual, I overcompensated, and now I have a bigger baton. Now we got to the knot. Let's see if we get through that knot. Well, didn't get through it, but he got around it. Let's do it this way. Let's turn this side and see if we can get around it there. Now it's what's getting us good. Okay, I'm gonna give up before I bruise my hand, because just call me a sissy if you want to. I don't care. Now I gotta get it out of here. Okay. And you know, what's really crazy is that I didn't edit that out. So which would probably have been the smart thing to do, but look at that. I mean, it's pretty gnarly. So that was definitely a pretty gnarly place to try to split it. I mean, that entire nice big knot there. So we'll just see if we can get down into this one. I'm sure we can. You know, I've had a lot of people tell me they think that's just abuse of a knife, and if I'd have kept going, I think it would have been. So let's just see how well it carves some of them there curls, because I can't believe it won't, because man, this is kind of a full flat grind with a reasonably large secondary grind. I'm trying to keep some on the old stick here, but I'm not really that good at that, which has never seemed to hinder my fire making ability. One thing thing I can almost always do is get a fire going. Man, this knife is sharp. So I think that's going to be enough, because I have my doubts as to whether or not this thing is going to strike a ferro rod at all. But first, try one more thing. I got some of that there. Oh my gosh. We'll put that other fat wood in here. We're going to see if it'll scrape fat wood. I'm not optimistic that it scrapes anything, because it doesn't really have a sharp spine on it. Not really. Let's see if we can get some fat wood curls off here then. Super fine curls. Let's see what she does with the ferro rod. Not much. Let's try the sharpening choil. Not much there either. Nothing. Okay, so since my second favorite ferro rod is not working with this knife, or let me rephrase that. This knife is not working with my second favorite ferro rod. We'll get my first favorite ferro rod out, which comes attached to a little canister of butane, and we'll see how well she works. Well, you know what, but first, just for comparison's sake, let's get the original and see how well it works. You want to? So, yeah, it definitely, from the factory, has a much sharper edge. So we'll do this. There you go. Alrighty, and there's the camp. So, what do you think we should do now? Chuck Norris's trash takes itself out. Okay, well, as I'm sure you've already figured out from the video so far, we're here at Survival on Purpose. We're all about the science. And to that end, we maintain a state-of-the-art cutting-edge knife testing facility here at our worldwide headquarters. And you may have already seen some videos and know that we like to test the aerodynamic balance of every fixed blade knife using our balance, orientation, and rotation device, which I just noticed is in need of some extreme repair. My son, a couple of my sons, and my nephew, who was back in town for the holidays from a job with the Border Patrol, they were throwing tomahawks and hatchets at the old balance, orientation, rotation device, and I think they kind of got a little exuberant. So, but we're going to endeavor to persevere and try and see what we can do. So, we've already tested the original, so we're going to put that on kind of the back burner for a minute, and we're going to test the aerodynamic balance of the camp, and then we'll probably, just for comparison's sake, we'll check the original out again too. But I don't know how much longer my balance, orientation, and rotation device is going to last, so we're going to get right to it with this one. So, and as always, scientific methodology is very important. Whoop, 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 whoop. That one did not go well. Let's try again. I won't say it stuck, it more like just buried in, but let's try again. Whoop. Again. This is a little bit lighter than I like to test aerodynamics on, but let's keep trying. Once more for the science. Now let's, for comparison's sake, let's try the original. Okay. Okay, well, that was the rigorous scientific testing process for the Gerber Strongarm Camp. Yeah, that's right. With an occasional comparison to the original Strongarm thrown in for science sake. Before we kind of talk about the takeaways, let me just say, first of all, unabashedly, I'm not ashamed. I like Gerber knives. I always have liked Gerber knives. They've always been one of my favorite knife companies. Actually, one of my favorite knives ever is one that I got when my oldest son, who just turned 38, joined Weeblos. So he was like 10. So that was like, 28 years ago, was my Gerber Gator, made in the USA folding knife. Still have it, still one of my favorite knives, still works just great. I think Gerber knives will make good knives and good solid designs for people that use knives, and I really like that many of their knives, like these two, are still made in the United States in American factories by American workers. That's a big deal to me. And they just make good stuff. So, that being said, let's talk about the pros and cons and how these knives compare to each other. First of all, I like the fact this one for camp stuff is lighter. It's definitely lighter and more nimble. This one is just a lot easier to use and carry around with you if you're gonna just be around camp or backpacking or something like that. It's a little thinner, so it really works better as a steak knife or something like that. It's pretty nimble. So there's the old Ring doorbell again. It's very sharp and just gets the job done. And it's got the full tang, got the thing here if you need to break some nuts or whatever, exposed pommel, exposed tang pommel. Just very nice knife and very well made in the USA, and I like it. The original Strongarm, on the other hand, is a little bigger, a little thicker, a little beefier, and has a little bit different exposed pommel, like a glass breaker style, and it also has a sharpened spine that will strike a ferro rod, which is something that the camp knife does not. But I think that's on purpose because it doesn't have that finger guard on top. So if you want to use choke up with your thumb or whatever for some fine carving, you can do that, and it doesn't bite into your thumb, which is a lot of really nice knives don't have sharp spines. But I like me a sharp spine. So to wrap this up, I think, if you want a camp knife, if you're just looking for a really good, solid, made in the USA camp knife at under $100, and you can find these things anywhere between 60 to 70 to 90 bucks, depending on when and where you find them. The MSRP is 90. This is a really good knife. I like it a lot. It comes from the factory, really sharp, and it's very, very useful. If your taste running more towards survival type knives, they're a little beefier, a little bigger, a little more robust, and also maybe a little more versatile. It's just, again, really hard to beat the original Strongarm. This is one of my favorite knives of all times from anybody, but especially from Gerber. I just really, really like this knife. It just gets the job done. It's thicker, it's beefier, it's got a sharper spine, a little bit longer blade. This could be very more versatile, I think, for a lot of different tasks, whether from survival to bushcraft to camping to self-defense or anything else. So both great knives. I like this one, but to be fair, I still like this one better. So can't go wrong with either one of them, though. Thanks again to the folks at Gerber for sending me this knife recently, and I think they sent me this one a while back. I bought one and they sent me one. I don't remember which one this is, but either way, thanks to Gerber, and they're both great knives, and I hope this video has been helpful. I really appreciate you watching Survival on Purpose. Remember, survival's not an accident, so be prepared. I'll see you next time.